Good afternoon, everybody. We often hear the sentence saying people over profits. And this shift is happening already in big corporations and small corporations. We can see it. But it's a really hard shift to do and a really hard balance to do when you try to balance your people and their needs with the balance of investors, stakeholders, board members, etc. In this panel, we'll be discussing all of those issues and more and see how can we put people first instead of projects. So with that, let me open to this fantastic panel and let's take a minute to just introduce ourselves. So Ralph, will you take us?
Thank you. Yeah, hello. My name is Ralph Martin. I'm the CEO and founder of Fifth Consulting, DMCC. It's a marketing agency based here in Dubai. And we specialized in price promotions, where we are changing from draws into game of chance. And at the same time, we can offer like big prizes, outstanding prizes to get more attention, more footfall, more data. And we do the risk management. That means like if somebody is really winning in these contests in a shopping mall, our agency is basically paying out the prices or not our customers.
Hello everyone, very nice to meet you here today. My name is Aziz Damak. I'm CEO of Lab 42 Global. We are a business strategy consultancy that focuses on performance marketing. Our core service revolves around making sure that every pound our clients spend brings a positive ROI to the business. That's the only way we ensure that we have a win-win relationship with our clients. They are growing, we are growing, everyone is winning. Passing on to Abdurrahman.
Yeah, hi. So nice to meet you again. This is Abdurrahman Inayat, a co-founder and director at W7 Worldwide. W7 Worldwide is a marketing communication agency where we build a reputation for our clients in terms of individuals or entities, and we basically help our clients in terms of the media perspective and the image of that. We are based in Saudi and we cover the GCC region as a whole. And we pass to the next one.
Hello. Hi there, I'm Joyce. I'm a content marketer as well as the founder of Joyce Saying Content Marketing based in Hong Kong. So what I do is I help entrepreneurs as well as business owners and brands create their content strategy and then educate them on the distribution of their content via social media as well as digital marketing. So I'm glad to be here, joined with everybody, and I would love to share my insights onto how people should be prioritized over projects.
Hi everyone, I'm Rukhsar Kazi. I run a digital marketing agency in Mumbai, India. We offer end-to-end digital marketing services. Our key expertise is in content creation and social media management, and we have also been offering performance marketing, website development, website management, and overall looking at scaling further in digital marketing. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here and add my 2 cents about this because I do have a lot of personal experience with it.
Well, thank you for sharing. I guess I'll share a little bit about myself as well. I guess I'm a little bit of an outlier here. I'm not in marketing. I'm a behavior analyst, and I specialize in nonverbal communication. I'm a founder of Kinesics, and we work with top companies in the world in helping them understand how they communicate and how to read others. That's the majority we do. We do work with people in marketing, and mainly reputation management, public speaking and things like that, TV and assessment of individuals. So that's on my end. And we'll continue with a question to open it to all of you on the panel. So my question is, for you, is what high performance lies in people, not in projects, means to you? So you can just start, pick whoever you want.
Do you want to start?
Okay. Yeah, since I'm the first in the row. Well, actually, I would say like the first thought is like where do we consider being the people? Is it like the consumer or the customer? Is it the people in our agency? Is it like maybe a B2B thing where we are talking to the people in a different agency? At the end, I think like it's really difficult to say because the project itself is paying the bills. So everything has to lead to a project at the end of the day. But what I think is like when we're talking about high performance marketing, then it is the people, because I mean the people, let's say in our company, they have to be very skilled. I mean, this is the first thing. They have to understand, you know, the product, how to approach and how to solve problems. So it's the people that are giving like the advantage. And when we are talking about marketing 2.0, it's even more important that it's not just I don't know, like technology, but the people are using the technology and driving it. So yeah, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, to me, like the people in our office or in our company are the key for success and for making marketing even better. And at the end, we are B2B company. So if we cannot explain it and bring it out to the market, yeah, our clients are not having more footfall or more sales or whatever it is.
All right. I believe the topic name explains itself. Marketing is a behavioral science, and behavior is for people. So it only makes sense to start with the people, whether it's the team, the customers, always start with the people. People will lead you to the desired outcome you want out of the project. When you start with the people, you make sure that all KPIs are achieved, communication is aligned, and everything goes to plan.
So for me, people is the most important thing. It's always the assets of the company and for any company. And previously we were facing a lot of issues, like for example, in terms of organization, we're not caring about the people. But nowadays, everyone talking about that. But the most important thing is that how we turn that talk into an action. So we see leaders who talk about the creativity and ideas and so on, but the environment of the people is not there. So when we say people, it means that we should commit, and as leaders, we should commit to that and have the right roadmap to go for that and to measure the success behind this. So it's always about people.
Joyce?
Thank you. So, you know, like some of the other panelists have mentioned, that people is super important for me, especially in under the industry or the idea of content marketing. I always talk to all my clients or anybody that I work with that it's always about people to people. Whether you're in a B2C or a B2B or however you call it, D2C, it's always about people to people. Now, apart from the actual people that you're talking to, so be it with your leads or your customers or your target audiences, what I really genuinely want to share here is that it is very important to keep your content creators or those who are creating the content under the idea of content marketing as people as well. They're the voice that you are giving power to showcase their authenticity and showcase who your brand actually is. So that's often being forgotten to a certain extent, right? What is the authenticity behind the founder, behind the people that work in the company, and how can that be showcased through content? Because what I can tell you is in marketing 2.0, or right now, currently, based on social media or other different platforms of distribution, it's always gonna be authenticity. What is authentic is going to bring you to a higher level, to the next level, where people actually recognize and want to pay their attention to you.
For someone who's been in this industry for the past 7 years and started off all by myself, where I was drafting captions, where I was creating content, where I was posting for my clients, that's just the, the basics of what I do. I understood that that's not a one-person job. It's not something that I can do all by myself. And the minute I started hiring people, assigning things, delegating tasks, I understood I'm nothing without my team. And when I'm nothing without my team, it doesn't matter how much a client wants what they want. There has to be boundaries, there has to be a certain way, there has to be a process, there has to be a system maintained wherein your team comes first, wherein your employees come first, because at the end of the day, if they are not in the state to work, you're not going anywhere. I'm here today because of my team, so definitely people over projects.
That's great. I love that the panelists mentioned, two of my panelists mentioned authenticity, and all this work is based on behavior. And the thing is, the interesting thing for me when I hear this sentence is communication. Everything is about communication. But as a behavior analyst and specialized in nonverbal communication, we only in school learn how to speak, how to read, and how to write. But we have over 5 channels of communication, which is face, body, verbal content, verbal style, and voice. Also psychophysiology, but we're not going to get into it. But what I would love to see when we work with people, when we communicate leaders to our team or marketers outside, is we're using all the channels of communication, and not just the written and not just the verbal, but how do we understand how to connect to people through all the channels of communication? And that's, I think, where the success is, when we can communicate authentically, not just through the words. We'll ask now directly the question. So, what are characteristics of successful, high-performing marketing team, in your opinion?
All right. So I would crack it down to 2 main areas: psychological factors and professional factors. I'll start on with the psychological factors. I believe there are 3. First one, dependability on one another. Are we able to count on one another to deliver world-class service? Number 2, meaningfulness of work. Does this work drive meaning to my sense of purpose? Number 3, impact of work. Does the service that we offer actually deliver impact to the customers and to the clients that we work with? That's for the psychological part. For the professional part, I believe there are 4. First one, placing a direct focus on the customer. There's an often mistake we marketers make. We get stuck behind our frameworks and theories. And in today's world, the very fast-paced world, behavior is changing on an almost everyday level. You have to really connect with the customer, talk to them, listen to their pain points, listen to their experiences. That's the only way you're going to help your clients better develop their service and achieve customer satisfaction. And customer satisfaction is the only way to ensure business growth over the long run. Number 2, driving revenue. With digital marketing being on the front row of driving revenue right now, it's very important for us marketers as well to realize that it became an absolute must to invest in channels where direct ROI is being able to be measured. Companies and the resources are being more limited than ever, and it's very important to make sure that every single decision you make, every single step you put, every campaign you launch is able to be measured and analyzed with a direct ROI focus. Number 3, operational excellence. No matter how talented your team is, no matter how brilliant you are, if your operations are not structured and clear to the T, you'll be leaving a lot of potential on the table. Before you start on any creative planning, make sure your operation is set properly for that project. Identify clear KPIs, identify numerical goals, make sure all of these are communicated to everyone in the team. That's the only way. When you guys work on that project, you're able to deliver the best of your capabilities and ensure the best results to their clients. Last but not least, I would say dependability on each other as partners, as clients, being able to trust one another's vision and walk the long journey together, because marketing and the performance is not an overnight thing, it's a long journey. So we have to believe in one another and allow the opportunity and the time and the failures to take place, because that's the only way we will learn and better understand businesses and customers and grow overall business for both of us and our clients.
Thank you. What a great answer. Next, Raksar. My question to you is, how do you implement a culture of people versus projects in your organization to have organizational alignment and excellence?
Firstly, I completely agree with everything that Ez mentioned. To start off with operations. It is so important, and it's just a journey, right? Nobody from the beginning would know how to set up operations, although that's the first thing that you should do. A lot of startups, a lot of businesses, including myself, did not know how to implement that, how to set a system wherein, because a system cannot be just like a template that's built and you are done with. It needs to be something that assists your team, something that makes their job easier and is comfortable for all of them. Something we've recently started implementing are KRA sheets, time sheets, error trackers. You have all of these to keep a track of the key performance. You have all of these things so that your team is delivering what you expect out of them. And at the same time, quality is given to the client. This also ensures that the clients are not in a position where they're not happy with the team. We do face, in spite of all of this, a lot of issues with clients, and that's the way the business works. That's the way this industry has become, because everything is like, oh, it's just that. Why don't you do it? Why isn't your team active? How do you draw boundaries? How do you draw boundaries both with your team and with your client? In that sense, when you are approachable, you also need to make sure that the team knows this is the time you're approachable. All of these small things, which are commonly, everyone discusses, but not really implements on an operational level, that is what matters, and that also will define the excellence of your team. Your team might be able to deliver the best of work, but if you keep asking them to do so 24/7, they might not be able to put the same thing on the table. There's always a burnout. There's always something that bothers them. We are humans, right? Our resources are going to, at the end of the day, perform just as the same we do. So it's very important to forget the 9-to-5 system, even though that exists. The suit up, boot up, all of that is gone. It's on a personal level, connecting with your team, understanding what works for them, building a system for them, and also making sure that your clients are aware of it. Complete transparency. When it comes to your clients and your projects, for that matter, you need to make sure that your projects, you also get a feedback about your team from your projects. Like, you understand that the client is also happy with the way the things are being delivered to them. So constant feedbacks, constant understanding of whether the person assigned to you, your POC or maybe your account manager, in my case, are you satisfied with the person? Would you like any change? These kind of things need to happen on a regular basis. What I have personally also done is I do a lot of personal meetings with my clients and my team members on a day-to-day basis, where I connect with them and understand what's the pressure like. Are you able to cope up? Are you able to keep up with everything that's been asked of you? And there are times where people we hire are expected to do something, but they excel at something else. So is there a shift in the position? Is there a shift in the work that you do? So identifying all of these things, these small things on a day-to-day basis, is extremely important. That will keep up the excellence, deliver quality, and also make sure that you are not losing your clients, but at the same time prioritizing people who are working with you.
That's fantastic. I think that the fact that you said having an open door policy where a client...
Being absolutely approachable.
Exactly.
That's very important.
A client or your employee can come and talk to you, and you can figure out what speaks to them, and maybe they're not in the right position, like you said. That's great. Thank you for sharing. Abdurrahman. Next question is for you. Okay. We all know that the highest performing marketing and companies are always inspired for growth. How do you build a growth mindset culture in your company?
So, first of all, we talk about the growth mindset. There is recent researches and a lot of talks about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And we see it happening even in many companies, how growth mindsets is upscaling the revenue and even the collaboration in the organization. For myself, in my experience, the first thing that I did with my partner is to identify our culture in the organization. It was very important before even we started the business. And I advise everyone to do that, because once you understand what's the culture of the organization that you are heading to, you can identify a lot of challenges and opportunities that you can bring on the table. In the interview sessions, I always remember, and I always even talk with my team, that the day that you are onboarding, I remember every word I say, because that's where I share the culture of the organization before you tap into joining the family. And we call it, in amongst ourselves, it's a family concept. And what I would like to share is that what I share with them is that the first thing is, it's your home. So you have to feel among the people, and you have to share, you can share anything. And the mindset of fixed mindset, which is preventing you to ask, for example, of opinions or share feedback, that's gone. So you have to share and to collaborate. What we found, even in the last 5 years, in the last 2 years only, we have been recognized around 15 awards regionally and internationally, and that shows how the team worked together to achieve that. It was not a one-man show or one person. It's a team working. It's starting with the journey from getting the client till even getting that achieved. So all of this shows three things: is collaboration, the second thing is communication, and the third point is appreciation. So if you got these three winning keys as a culture in your organization, I believe you can achieve a lot and beyond than what you expect. So I always say it's all about people, because in service sectors or industry, it's people, and you have to take care about that. And we always, if you believe in that from a passion perspective, you always give more, and the people even give and take from that perspective. So that's my philosophy, let's say.
That's fantastic. So I'm sure now that we don't have a strict 9 to 5, most of us work kind of 24/7.
Yeah.
It helps with retention when you lead with culture as well.
Yeah,
retaining
exactly.
your people.
Yeah. I just want to add two things. What we do even in onboarding, that we share our culture with the new team. So it helps them that even if you got in another agency or a company that has fixed mindset, it helps them to get to what we are aiming for. And that's very important to do from HR point of view. Yeah, so that's very important.
That's great. Joyce, the question
Hi.
for you. Hi. How do you, as a communicator, in your work of content creation, share the message of people versus project? Is there a difference in the wording or mindset?
I think that's a great question. So tapping back to some of the things that other panelists, especially what you've mentioned as well, right? It's not just the client, but it's also the team that's working with you. You kind of have to protect them as well, so that's how it ensures the quality of the content. Now, I have two keywords to throw out here for everybody to kind of think about, which you obviously would have heard of it, considering we're all marketers. First thing is consistency. The second thing is transparency. Now, obviously, we've all touched up on these aspects based on different elements within running a business or being a marketer. When it comes to content marketing specifically, what I'm really trying to get at is transparency does not only just come from the operations, the workflow, or the team members that's working with you, but what is often forgotten as well is it has to come from the boss. It has to come from the person who built that brand, because more than likely they have actually forgotten along the way when they're building out their business what they're really wanting to do, right? They're kind of trapped in the mindset of every month's ROI or their budget or other things that's happening within their life. But they've often forgotten what is it that they're trying to do with their brand. Most likely all of the time, it's been started to solve a problem of their own. And that is what we need to actually dig out back from the past and convey it and express it through the idea of content. Now, I'm not limiting that to social media, but all content. What we're doing here is a piece of content. Offline experiences are pieces of content. Conferences, the chat that you have with other different members of attendees, those are all content. What are you doing these content for? That is where the transparency actually should lie. Now, second point is consistency. Now, of course, if you're like a lot of people here who are very experienced with social media, it gets thrown around a lot, right? Consistency. You have to be consistent on this platform. You have to be consistent on your content. You have to be consistent on doing all these things. It gets kind of stuck in your mind so much that you're like, yeah, just repeatedly do the same thing. Now, when I'm talking about consistency based on especially the idea of content marketing, what that means is you have to ensure that there is a pattern being achieved through content by your brand, not limited or bounded by the idea of format or distribution channel. What that means is the person behind who is doing that or creating that piece of content is able to be consistently delivering. Now, that actually lies in the person, not so much as to the trends or the platform or the algorithm that's being changed. What that means is it ties back to the first point that I made in this panel as well. If you're real, if you're being authentic, if you're being yourself, that's definitely going to result you in being consistent. Because if I like eating candy, I'm always going to be liking eating candy. If I started off pretending to like candy because it fitted the brand or because it was easier to convey to the client, that's where you break down on consistency. So that's the idea when it comes to specifically in throughout my experiences of working with different clients or just working with different team members as well. That's where you can actually achieve what we call consistency, the true idea of being consistent in creating content, as well as achieving that transparency of really realizing and remembering what it is that your brand has set out on to do. So with that said, I want to throw the ball back to you, Angela, with your expertise in behavior and your understanding of different forms of communication. What do you have to add to some of the things that we've mentioned when it comes to people over projects?
Thanks, Joyce. What I see, which is, I guess, a little bit different, is in a way kind of taking away from you that it comes from the top and there's authenticity piece. It's really important to be congruent. And the congruency, this happens on multiple level. What does that mean? You can be congruent with yourself and how you communicate through the 5 channels of communication that I have mentioned before, but also congruent with the brand. And now when you have management that there's leading through a certain culture, but there's incongruency with the leadership and they're not aware of self. So I've been working with a lot of companies through cultures. And when we look at reading others or communicating to others, first and foremost, we need to understand ourselves. When we understand ourselves, then we can self-manage. And only after self-managing, we can influence. Most people think they can influence as a leader. We're talking bottom up, top to bottom. Often people think, I'm going to show up and influence. But influence does not happen before self-awareness and before self-management. So when I work with companies and understand how communication works and how to lead teams and how to manage teams, because understanding what they're communicating is not what they're communicating through words. Most communication happens underneath the words they're saying, underneath the messages they're saying verbally. So understanding that is really important. And so when a leadership can understand that, and then we can look at the brand and what the brand stands for, what's the culture is like, then we can say, okay, is there congruency? Is the communication there works? Because if you want to be open, but then you have somebody that comes from a close culture, then they need to understand their communication, where they're coming from, and understand what is the wiring and the context, right? Because we all grew up in different contexts, and we have the close context net, where is the family, and then we have the Y context, which is the country and the environment, etc., and the belief systems. So on my end, I would say communication is really important, and I think it adds a lot when you, as you said, you go from the top. And you make sure there is alignment there and congruency. Ralph, last but not least. Ralph, tell us, the culture of people is not just in our companies, but also in how we expand this to our customers. How do you ensure your team truly embodies this with their customers?
Okay, first of all, it's kind of, I mean, we are based here in Dubai, so I mean, we are facing all these different cultures because we have like, I don't know, like 250 different nationalities here, so coming from all over the world, and everybody is different with a different background, families, culture, religion, anything you can imagine. And we are having companies also in Europe, and so there is like a huge difference, you know, like when you have like a very unique market with all Germans, let's say, or like people from, I don't know, like UK or something like that, and here you have to be very open to everybody. So, I mean, I can make it very simple. I mean, we are trying to be like just open-minded, let's say that. That's the key. Be open-minded, listen, and now we are talking about what you already said. Listen to your customer, for example, you know, like what they want. Listen to the, maybe, or you do a research listening to the consumers, you know, like, I mean, and not just to the customer and the other agency. I mean, listen to the consumers, how you want to approach them. And here, of course, you know, it's, I mean, we face this differences by, for example, when we do these kind of promotions, price promotions, whatever, I mean, everybody loves gold here. I mean, gold is amazing. I mean, in Germany, nobody cares about gold. I mean, if you give away, for example, balls, like soccer balls or tennis balls or even golf balls, I mean, they run into the store to get it for free or whatever, or they buy and get gas, I don't know what. If you look to the Netherlands, frozen cakes. I mean, if you give away frozen cakes, I mean, they run into your store and it's the same thing. You know, like, but here it's gold. Oh, Poland, alcohol, of course. You know, like if you give a bottle of wine, then they come to the store. So, yeah, so I mean, you see like different markets, and here it's like you have the challenge that, you know, like you have to satisfy everybody, kind of. And in our company, I mean, we have like, I mean, 10 people with, I'm always saying 10 people in 20 different nationalities. So everybody, I think we don't have one single person from the same country. So everybody is different, and that's amazing. And I always, sorry to say, but I think it's amazing. I mean, we are not content writers, right? We are just the promotion guys. But I mean, having content, like writing it and getting like, reaching out to all these different people. Like, I mean, you want to reach like people from India and people from UK and people from Germany. And so, I mean, that's amazing. And of course from Saudi, for example, you know, like, I mean, if you want to, I mean, these are so wide. And the other thing is like what you just said, it's coming from the top to the bottom. I mean, yes, and that's another leadership thing. I mean, if you are not open to the world, I mean, how should your employees be open to the world? So yeah, but at the end of the day, very simple, open-minded, and then you can transport like, you know, like the culture to the customers and to the, at the end, or to the clients and to the customers. Thank you.
We're sharing this one. Well, thank you very much for your answers. On this point, we have to conclude. I see my time ran out. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the panelists for your fantastic conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Angela for moderating that wonderful panel, and thank you once again to all our amazing panelists. Thank you so much. What a great discussion.